No one could be more excited than I am that the MIT South Asian Alumni Association and MISTI MIT India are undertaking an archival and oral history project on MIT in South Asia. We are so honored to have Ross Bissett here with us today. Ross is a historian who spent 15 years researching how a people left behind by the Industrial Revolution came to be among the world's leaders in engineering and technology, and what a central role MIT played in that history. Our project tells the remarkable story of South Asia at MIT and MIT in South Asia to honor the determination and grit of multiple generations of South Asians at MIT.
Well, let me give you an MIT-focused tour of Mumbai. So the first place I want to talk about, and I don't think it has that same location anymore, but during World War II, a lot of American soldiers were stationed in Bombay, and the United States opened a library in Bombay. And one of the things that many MIT graduates told me was that one of the first times they found out about MIT was when they went to this library and saw MIT catalogs. So let's go a little bit north to Powai to see IIT Bombay. We know, of course, that the Indian IITs were in some ways modeled after MIT. But even more, it's kind of interesting that IIT Bombay has something that they call the Infinite Corridor. And so it's just interesting to see how that connection sort of lives on besides many IIT Bombay students who went to MIT after that. A number of business families sent their children to MIT to prepare for entering the family business. So we'll go over to Villa Parlay and his company Parlay and Thumbs Up. Ramesh Chauhan sort of took on Coca-Cola, started this Thumbs Up Cola. It was very successful. And again, another MIT graduate heading a business family. So I also think of Charles Correa, the architect, and Navi Bombay, and his work in sort of conceiving this idea of a new Bombay in a way that Bombay could spread out. Also then as we go to the Kalagoda area, we see Durga Bajpayee's work, the Jahangir Art Gallery, another MIT graduate in architecture. The role that MIT graduates have played in Bombay is quite striking to me. And I'm quite sure that there's no other American or probably foreign university where one could sort of say the same thing. And so I spent time hanging out in the Hayden Library. And one of the things I found was that MIT had this collection of commencement programs. And these commencement programs listed every graduate and their hometown. And so this really intrigued me. What I saw was it would be possible to make a database of every person from India who graduated from MIT. And so that was what I did. But so it became possible to, first of all, list all the graduates of MIT, but then also to try to find out their stories. How did they end up at MIT and what did they do afterwards? And so one of the attractions of this was it was a definite population of people that I could study. And I thought of this as sort of a historical experiment. You know, what can we learn about Indian history by looking at these people? A couple of things that I think it told me is that, first of all, it shows connections between a number of Indian nationalist leaders and business leaders between MIT, which we weren't necessarily aware of before: Bal Tilak, Mahatma Gandhi, G.D. Birla, and also shows how Indians really looked to MIT for 130 years to find resources to transform the country, to transform their businesses, to transform themselves. And one of my claims is that the modern high-tech Indian was to a significant extent created by Indians who looked to MIT. One of the other intriguing things that I found was links between MIT students and Gujarat, and specifically links between MIT and Mahatma Gandhi. In the 1920s and 1930s, more Indians went to MIT, came from Gujarat than from anywhere else in India. And again, quite surprisingly, there were a number of connections between Mahatma Gandhi and MIT. One of the most intriguing people that I found in my research was a man by the name of Trikamlal Shah. He was the son-in-law of Dev Chand Parekh. And Mahatma Gandhi was actually present at his wedding. Trikam Lal Shah was a fairly committed Gandhian, but he went at the encouragement of Dev Chand Parekh to MIT. He studied, got a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering and received a master's degree in electrical engineering. And when he returned to India, one of the intriguing things is he had a letter of recommendation from Vannevar Bush. Vannevar Bush really is one of the most important figures in technology in the 20th century. The other person I want to mention is Bal Kalelkar, and he was the son of Kaka Kalelkar, who was one of Gandhi's close associates as well. And Bal Kalelkar was raised in the Satyagraha ashram in Ahmedabad. He marched with Gandhi in the Salt March. And in 1940, he went to MIT to study mechanical engineering. One other person I just want to mention, and I had the privilege of speaking to a number of times, was F.C. Kohli, who had a master's degree from MIT, was an executive at Tata Electric. And really, after TCS, Tata Consultancy Services, was started and got off the ground, he was brought in to really domesticate it. And he really had connections with the United States that enabled TCS to become sort of the global player in IT that it is today.